यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सत्ता कर्मण्य विद्वांसः यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद्विद्वांस्तथा सत् चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम् न बुद्धिभेदं जन्येत् ज्ञानं न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन् प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्ते इति मत्वा न सञ्जते प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत् मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः।
Very good. Keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, we were seeing yesterday, I will repeat the point that has been taken up as an extra addition, to the verse understanding, to the meaning of the 29th shlok, where it is said that one who is kritsnavit, they should not confuse the minds of those who are attached, still function naturally for phala prapti, Do not confuse them by giving them either the knowledge of Atma as a Karta and that Atma you are, or even forcing them to follow the Shastra, Drishti, when they don't understand what it really means. They don't understand why should one give up the attachment to the fruits and still continue to work. If someone doesn't understand this clearly, then either forcing them or by just following someone blindly without understanding and appreciating why it is necessary to do that, one can be misled into becoming worser in their manner of life, and in the future they will take certain wrong decisions. And how are they wrong? By avoiding doing what they are supposed to do, because they would believe that Atma is Akarta, that is a final fact. And they may have Shraddha in the person or in the Shastra at some time, for some time, and they may just be sincere in following it, but they will, in that error, they will stop doing what they are naturally oriented to do, not appreciating why Shastra tells us, educates us. It doesn't tell us, it educates us, it teaches us. And anyone who understands is able to then be inspired to live it because the knowledge is flawless. It educates us that if we want certain state of mental peace and mental equanimity, or we want to live a more fuller life also, up to the point of being absolutely free of the cycle of birth and death, up to that point, all of this ground is covered by Shastra Vidya. Then the first step would be learn to operate your actions, perform your actions without falicha. But if someone doesn't fully understand and appreciate this, and they just simply follow it, then they're bound to be confused, because at every point that they are supposed to do, the thought that Atma is a karta, therefore, what is there for me to do? Let me just live being there. I believe in, we were told when we were students by a teacher that in the ashram, where in an ashram where there were students who were studying, there was a group of set of students who, though they had taken brahmacharya as a vow, they would sit under a tree, even if there was a class going on. They would sit under a tree and just stare blankly around, just a blank state of looking around. They would sit under a tree, so there were birds, and they would. So if someone called them, and the teacher was a very reputed, well known, even today, has a great established lot of ashrams. So even if he was taking a class, even then they would do that. So one day the teacher decided that they needed to be pulled up, sent someone attend the class, and the answer came back was Atma Zakarta. So what are we doing? We are remaining sitting, not doing anything. Means trying to understand Atma is Akarta. So I am sitting, not operating my organs of action. I'm sitting just observing nature. I'm just sitting, taking in the environment. After all, the entire knowledge is fundamentally going to boil down to what Atma is Akarta. So I am trying to be the Akarta. Be Akarta. I am trying to be Akarta. And I believe those people had such a huge shock, because the teacher themselves came out and literally whipped them almost. and then started the whole teaching of, even when you have joined so called a full time, taken a brahmachari vow, even then there is a certain prakriya of knowledge that your intellect should follow step by step to be able to arrive at your conclusion that you are Atma and Atma is Akarta. But that requires a whole lot of inner purification and a very systematic way of inquiry. Inquiry on your Swarupam. It is not by just sitting idle that you can know Atma is Akarta. So, this is a very essential misunderstanding in society. Unfortunately for us, where this Shastra is rooted in this land, here itself we have the maximum misunderstanding with reference to the Shastra Vidya. It is it is misunderstood that Shastra tells us that Atma is Akarta, therefore you have nothing to do. So people renounce, people go into caves, live as if they are following, except there are a lot of misunderstanding based knowledge. That is called do not confuse them. Means when you are ready for inquiry, you don't need a verification from someone else. You don't need someone to tell you now you're awake. जब आप जागते हो, उठते हो सुबह, आपको कोई बताता नहीं है कि अरे तुम जाग गए हो, you are in a जागृत अवस्था now. Nobody has to tell you. In fact, if you're sleeping and someone shakes you up, are you awake? You are literally telling them, why did you wake me up? Because I was sleeping. It's your knowledge. In the same way, आपका अंतकरण में क्या चल रहा है, क्या विचार चल रहे हैं, वो विचार आपके सत्य की अवस्था मीन्स आपके स्वरूप अवस्था के साथ कितने जुड़े हैं और कितने कल्पित हैं. दैट इज समथिंग वेरी फाइन लाइन. इट्स अ फाइन लाइन. कितना हम कल्पना में जीते हैं और कितने हम वास्तविक ज्ञान में निष्ठा ले रहे हैं. It's a fine line. So, Krishna has warned that those who are attached to karma phal, if you somehow are not able to take the full teaching to them, then do not confuse them. Give them the full teaching because the teaching prakriya is कि आपको फल से अलग होना ही है. आपको अपने कर्मों को फल से अलग करना है. This is the teaching. You cannot avoid this teaching. But to someone whose natural inclination, even after saying a few times, still remains कि वो करते हैं फल के लिए कर्म, तो अब उनको ज़्यादा छेड़ो मत in that sense. Because जो कर रहे हैं वो भी छूट जाता है और ज्ञान के लिए तो अभी तैयार है ही नहीं. वो नहीं समझते. वो समझते हैं कि हम तो ज्ञान के द्वार तक पहुंच ही गए हैं. बट obviously, according to Shastra Vidya, Shastra Drishti, we are all students in preparation. How much do we follow the Shastra? We follow preparing ourselves always. Never presuming that I have already uh, reached, I am already knower. You can know the entire Prasthana Trayi. Can still be at this stage where you need inner purification. Therefore, being on the right side, avoiding an error which can keep you for janmas on a wrong track. It is better to be spending janmas on the right track. At least I know I am taking step by step towards what is the correct thing. So he says, Krishna here tells us, whoever is attached to phal, वो अभी पूरा ज्ञान नहीं है, अकृत्स्नवत है. As I said yesterday, I'll explain this portion a little more. अकृत्स्नवित और कृत्स्नवित को आत्मवित क्यों कहा? That is the important point. That is an additional insight, because this word keeps coming throughout the study of Vedanta, Kritsnavit, Kritsnavit, and everywhere it is going to be taken as Atmavit. How is this? This is the vichar that our acharyas in the parampara have taken up by tremendous study in detail of all the shastra over a chitta shuddh manaha. And this is their service to mankind in the form of these bhashyams that they have spent their life with, trying to understand and then write it down. And we must all remember these were written on barks, they were manuscripts. There was no printing machine, there was no typing then. There are acharyas who created manuscripts. Students copied that. Manuscripts were one's own uh, purusharth, one's own effort. That was now this, where these acharyas laid that vision down and showed us how Kritsnavit means Atmavit. And how does it mean Atmavit? For a simple reason. Whatever is the cause of an effect, जो कारण है जिससे कोई कार्य है, कार्य means an effect. Example, there is a pot, forgot to bring, there is a pot. You see a pot in front. Imagine this is a pot. It's got a lid. Now, what all you see, we did this exercise a few weeks ago, but we are repeating this. What all do you see here? You see that it's a pot, it has a shape, it has a name. What else do you see? Quickly.
The matter which is made of, the clay.
Exactly. The clay. The matter it is made up of. Actually, I don't have to go further into the example. It's absolutely correct. It's the matter with which it is made up of. If you know the matter, then however many objects I have of that material cause, the matter with which it's made, material cause, upadan karan, that matter when it is known kya hai, then all the effects, all the karya I know. So if there is a tumbler, if there's a glass made of clay, I may use it as a glass, but I know the glass as a glass because I know it is made of clay. Everything that is made of clay gets known to me. Putting it in a very simple way, this is one of the very big prakarnams. Also, wherever there is a Srishti prakarnam in Upanishads, this is the base of it all. So it's important to understand why is Kritsnavit Atmavit, knowing which nothing more is left to know. So when I know a glass, but I don't know of what it is made, then I see a pot. I don't have a relation between the two. I don't know what is the common thing between the two because a pot is not serving as a glass and a glass is not serving as a pot. But if I break my cognition of a glass and a pot, I'm repeating it. If I break my cognition of the perception of a glass and I break my cognition of the perception of a pot, I break them in cognition through what? Through viveka, through vichar, through discernment. Kya hai ye? Inquiry. When I break it up, I start seeing what are the components that this glass is made up of. Kisse bana hai? Kya kya hai? I start getting the details of the glass. So my glass may have some painting on it. My glass may have a certain weight. It may have a certain shape. It may have certain content in it. I don't know what the content is. So if I have a pot and it has a lid, I don't know what content there is. है भी के कुछ नहीं है. We don't know. So knowing something as is, say a glass or a pot, I still may not know a lot of things about it, which I can't see. देखने पर भी उसका कोई अदृष्ट एलिमेंट है जो नहीं मुझे पता उसके बारे में. सो ग्लास के अंदर क्या है, आई कैनॉट सी. आई एम ओनली सीइंग द ग्लास. पॉट के अंदर क्या है, आई कैनॉट सी. आई एम ओनली सीइंग द पॉट. Was the glass in the pot made by the same person? I cannot see. I don't know. I don't know. Always remember this. I don't know. And I know. I know that this is a glass, but I do not know what is in the glass. I know this is a pot, but I do not know. I can't see what is in the pot. This knowledge of an object that I can know, but there will still be an element of it which I do not know. I may not know. I don't have complete knowledge about it. That is called akritsna. Now, supposing you say, I know the glass, I know it completely, I also know who made it, and I also know what is in it. But when you say, I know the glass, then do you know what was next to the glass in the cupboard? Do you know what is next to that? Oh, I didn't see that. That means kritsna with refers to the knowledge. जिस ज्ञान को लेके हमें पूर्णता का ज्ञान कभी नहीं हो सकता. I will always have some aspect of a knowledge about it which I do not know. So here the example is taken as a traditional example. I may have the entire knowledge of ghata, but I may not have the knowledge of pata. Pata means cloth. Ghata is pot. जान के कि ये pot है, I may not know that there is a cloth. I don't know the product completely. Any knowledge which cannot be known completely is akritsna. And everything about Jagat is, the Gyan of Jagat is akritsna. But Atma is kritsna. Why? Because it is one cause. It has no parts. It is niravayava. It is akhanda. It is ekam. Knowing which everything else gets known. As what? As mithya. For example, I'm sleeping and I dream. A very vivid dream. Today afternoon, I had a very vivid dream. And in my dream, I was conquering Mount Everest. I was just about to put a national flag on Everest, and suddenly there was a huge avalanche. And my flag, I'm trying to control it, and I fall down the precipice. And I wake up. Wake up. Just the moment of exhilaration that I was about to have in the dream, suddenly I wake up with palpitation. My heart's racing. The minute I wake up as a waker in the waking state, the division that I saw in the dream with reference to me trying to conquer Everest and everything pertaining to that, there is a division of knowledge there. वस्तुओं का ज्ञान है और वो भी पूर्ण नहीं है. I have knowledge of Mount Everest. I have knowledge of what are equipments in the dream. I must have had, that's why I must have planned the whole thing, etc., etc. I have the knowledge of my desire, but I have no knowledge of what is to happen next. I don't know whether I survived or not. I have nothing, no idea. But when I woke up, on waking up, what is the knowledge of dream to me? On waking up, when I have knowledge of myself as a waker, this is an example, as a waker, the entire component of the dream, however many varieties I saw in the dream, however many emotions I felt there, from the height of excitement and exhilaration, instant I fell into a state of um, fear and um, sense of loss, etc. Fear of death, sense of loss, instant. The whole realm of emotion that I felt there, confusion that I had, I don't know whether going to live next moment or not. Everything must have happened in the mind to the one who was trying to climb the Everest. Everything over there, that knowledge is what? Bits, pieces. You try and make as many connections as you can. There is one component that is always missing in that. What is that component? You. That you is always missing. Now, the minute I wake up, I have knowledge of myself as woken up, and having the knowledge of myself as distinct from the one who had the dream, as distinct and separate from the dreamer, I suddenly realize all that realm of my experience was just, has no impact on me as a waker. Doesn't touch me. Why did I have the palpitation, etc., etc.? That's the memory triggered. But am I really impacted by it? Have I really fallen? Has actually the avalanche affected my body? No, nothing's happened. Absolutely untouched. Knowing which, everything remains as is, but it ceases to affect, because Karya cannot affect Karana. The pot cannot affect the clay. Clay can affect the pot. If your clay is not well cooked, if the clay is not well cooked, you won't have a well cooked pot. It'll break. 2, 3 times you put it on fire, it'll break. Because the mud is not cooked. Clay is not cooked. Clay will affect the pot, but pot cannot affect the clay. In the same way, the knowing of Atma, that is the Karan of the entire Jagat. And Jagat, when we see outside, this is very sukshma, very subtle. It actually needs a lot of study with the Upanishads, dhire dhire, with certain Mimamsa from the Brahma Sutras. Over a period of time, that perception settles down. That's why if it's repeated a few times, it gets accommodated as yes, ab thoda samajh mein aa raha hai. What is it? The entire Jagat is actually nothing but a perception of your thought, object of your senses. ये इंटायर realm एक ही है. यहां हमें लग रहा है कि जगत अलग है मुझसे, मगर ऑन एग्जामिनेशन, ऑन विचार, ये जगत मुझसे अलग नहीं है. ये जगत और मैं जो जीवा है, ये एक है, एक परसेप्शन है. Just as in the dream, the Mount Everest and me trying to conquer look separate. But on waking up, it's one perception. It was one dream. Same, absolutely same. That when there is knowledge of Atma as oneself, वो ज्ञान लेने के बाद, वो ज्ञान होने पे, कारण बीइंग एकम, एक ही कारण है, everything else is dissolved. Everything else becomes falsified. If you put it in an English language, it becomes easier. I'm going to give 2-3 examples just to help. Whichever works will be good. If you say consciousnesses, knowing the consciousness, do you know all the thoughts? Will you know all the thoughts? I've put the question a little not so straight. Knowing the consciousness, will you know all the thoughts? You should think about it before answering. Knowing consciousness, do you know all thoughts? Answer should be yes. Knowing consciousness, do you know all thoughts?
Yes, because there are no thoughts. Because the thoughts will get dissolved.
Okay. Yes.
You are aware of your own thoughts all the time.
Absolutely. Knowing the consciousness, you know all the thoughts. Yes. That they will dissolve is at the final stage when you're abided in it. But even knowing consciousness, just consciousness, knowing consciousness and the thoughts, who knows whom? Yes. The consciousness, when it is known, in my consciousness, has consciousness being there, all varieties of thoughts get known. कृत्स्न ज्ञान, कॉन्शियसनेस का ज्ञान अगर है, दैट्स कृत्स्न ज्ञान, क्योंकि उसका होने से, जानने से सारा ज्ञान, सब ऑब्जेक्ट्स का ज्ञान, सब थॉट्स आई कैन नो. मगर अगर मुझे एक थॉट के बारे में पता है, आई हैव अ थॉट ऑफ अ पॉट, I do not have the thought of what is in the pot. So the knowledge of one object versus another object, one thought versus another thought, at the level of thoughts, I do not have complete knowledge. Why? Because they are not connected. What connects them? Is there adhishtan? Is that common cause? Where they emerge, where they are sustained, where they dissolve. What is that common cause? Consciousness. In consciousness, thoughts emerge. In consciousness, thoughts sustained. That's why if I have a long stream of thought, lamba 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 mind chalta rehta hai. Some of us have this, no? When we are record playing some past experience, वो चलता रहता है, चलता रहता है, चलता रहता है. That means my consciousness is sustaining the thought. And then that thought goes, another thought comes. Thoughts are changing, but my consciousness is changeless. I try and avoid the word consciousness, but I'm taking it as an example. I avoid it because then it's an objective knowledge. Consciousness, when we say it, it becomes as if I've understood. But no, we've not understood consciousness. We've understood what it is being talked about. But consciousness, as an example, yes, I know all the objects, I know all the thoughts, I know everything because in consciousness, by consciousness, through consciousness, because of consciousness, consciousness alone is changeless. Being there, ever present, ekam, advitiyam, akhanda. My consciousness does not change along with the thoughts. If my thoughts are destroyed, my consciousness is not destroyed. My consciousness doesn't multiply when the thoughts are racing away. My consciousness is stable, it's steady, it's ever there, it's nityam, it's changeless. knowing that consciousness, I know everything. So he said, Kritsna Gyan. What is Kritsna Gyan? Complete knowledge. And in that complete knowledge, one has to come to the very source of knowledge. I remember once we had taken this video in one of the classes before. I'll try and see if I can still see it. It's just a I don't know if this video gets projected or not. It's something on the Facebook you've all seen before. I think most of you have seen it. I find this very fascinating. What do you see here? To me, this is a very educative video. It's on my Facebook front page also. Here, I think you can see it. Here you can see. Good, you can see it. Okay, it's getting projected. Those who know the answer, those who have seen it before, what can you see? Saw everyone. Any thoughts anybody has? What did you see?
Yeah, you shared this very, very early when we started our Vedanta classes with you.
Right.
I remember.
We are bringing this in the context of Kritsnavit now.
Okay.
So what do you see? They're analyzing the vision. What all one saw?
We saw the crabs around the soil, then we saw the water flowing, then we saw that a hawker going past with this gentleman standing there absolutely still and watching everything around him.
Mhm.
And
He was probably, he was actually offering his prayers. So he was doing alaukik karma. The hawker is doing laukik karma.
okay.
He was offering his prayer. Nitya karam he was doing. So there is very clearly the distinction of what is alaukik karma and what is laukik karma. What phal will he get for the alaukik karma? That nitya karma if he is doing. What is the phal of nitya karma? He can, if he's
Drishya, Adrishya.
drishtam and adrishtam, he can very clearly do it with nishkam bhava. If he's doing it as Ishwararpan, he's getting chitta shuddhi. And the one who's going in a laukik karma, if he's also doing that karma with nishkam bhav and Ishwararpan without phalicha, even that laukik karma can become means for chitta shuddhi. It is karam yog. But if he is doing that laukik karma only for bhog, then it is keeping him in the cycle of कितना मिलेगा क्या नहीं मिलेगा आज मेरा कितना etc कितना बिकेगा नहीं, all those thoughts that we say is samsara. If this alaukik karam is doing that karma for a desire, he's doing it sakam but he's doing alaukik karam, even then he may get the prasad of his desire fulfillment, but he will be bound to that prasad also. So the Siddhant gets complete over here. But we also saw the ants there trying to collect their food. Now, if you see the hawker or the ants, they are both trying to do what they best can do. But what we generally miss out in the whole perception is now each of them doesn't know the other at that point. Each of them has knowledge only of what they are doing. And maybe a little more, whoever's aware, but that's it. all of them, whether it's the ants or that sadhak there or the hawker there or whoever else is there, is not knowing the one who's taking the video. Who has taken the video? The one who has taken the video, वो क्या क्या देख रहा है? वो ये सारा दृश्य देख रहा है और वो खुद को जानता है कि वो देख रहा है. He is the one who is seeing it all. He knows. But none of them know that there is one who's taking a video. ये वीडियो वाले का भी कोई वीडियो ले रहा है? He doesn't know. But the limitation of an example. What is Kritsnavit in this example? This is the third thing. So first thing we explained, second was with the help of consciousness. This is the third way we are coming to explain what is Kritsnavit in a relative sense. Through the example relative, but the idea is Atmavit. What is Kritsnavit? Where there is a complete knowledge, knowing which nothing is left to be known. Usko कहते हैं Kritsnavit. And that can only be where there is Atmagyan, because वही एक है. बाकी सब अनेक है. There are differences. There are differentiations. अलग अलग गुणों से अलग अलग वस्तुएं हैं. प्रकृति के गुण हैं. And प्रकृति के गुणों से अपने अपने विकारों से नाम रूप का पूरा जगत है. That entire jagat is a Kritsna. Incomplete knowledge. If you do not see the seer of the jagat, अगर उस seer को नहीं देखते आप, देखने वाले को नहीं देख रहे, और क्या दिख रहा है देख रहे हो. I'm repeating the sentence. अगर आप देखने वाले को नहीं देख रहे और क्या दिख रहा है देख रहे हो, then that is akritsna gyan. It's akritsnavit. Such a one, he says.
So here we were all a Krishna.
Yes. We were all akritsnavit. Absolutely. And
So
that is
sad.
no, not at all. This is all of us. Swabhavik hai ye. That is why Vedanta makes us look more. Or dekh lo, or dekh lo, or dekh lo. And that is how we keep coming back and back and back. Hopefully.
And I'm feeling sad because I remember going through this whole video and reading various excerpts from various students of yours. And I remember you mentioned this here and I did not come up with it now.
No, that's okay. Why should you feel sad? It's okay. These things we forget. That's why we keep bringing them back. But natural, it's to be, and it's not so important anyway. It doesn't matter. It's just to convey a point. That's all. It's just an example. If you forget, so what? It'll be repeated again. Not to worry. So the whole idea is what? What is this verse saying? I am highlighting a lot on this, maybe more than what I should. Maybe it's not necessary to highlight. We could have just moved ahead. But maybe it's worthwhile because there are certain portions of Shastra Vidya जो हमारा पुरुषार्थ है क्या, हम क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं, ये जानने के लिए पढ़ रहे हैं. एंड अगर हमको एक जानने वाली वस्तु में और थोड़ा जानने की दृष्टि आ रही है तो why not? If I don't understand today, doesn't matter, I'll understand it tomorrow. Has anybody heard, when we were children, I had heard, and it was very important in our home, at our home, what books you keep at home. Anybody has heard this? I was told as a, आप जो किताबें रख रहे हो घर पे, आप एक ना एक दिन उस किताब को समझोगे, whether you understand today or not. So we were very careful of what books were kept at home. So only the books, even if you don't understand someday, if you have heard it, even if you've not understood today, आपने सुन लिया है, आपने देख लिया है, किताब अगर है तो एक ना एक दिन, it may not be today, it may not be in 1 year, it may not be 2 years, but there will be a day when you will know that
Very true.
you will study
Very
that,
true.
you will understand the book. You will
You're not allowed to read Mills and Boone, Dipti ji.
No comments. So the idea is Kritsna with, and especially for all of us who are, yes, we were told not to keep Mahabharata at home. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. You know, uh, even we were told not to keep Mahabharata at home. So I had a
Is
huge.
it true, Dipti? Is it true? Like you
We
should
won't
not keep it?
take, no. We shouldn't take it in such a literal sense. उनका कहने का मतलब है बिकॉज वो कहानी समझोगे आप अगर कहानी समझोगे तो कहानी में तो सब लड़ाई हो रही है ना बिटवीन कजन्स, मगर किताब कहानी नहीं है, किताब आपको कुछ कह रही है, आपको सिखा रही है, आपको कुछ अनफोल्ड कर रही है. It's not a story, it's not Mills and Boone, it's not what are the other Nancy Drews and what are the today's books, I don't know what are today's books. It's not those kind of books. It's not fiction. It's not Harry Potter. It's not Harry Potter. It's not Kalpitam. It is entire human being and their life represented in Avidya, and the jewel of that Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita. I argued with everybody at that time when I started having interest in this. I said, "अरे," when I got to know कि Bhagavad Gita महाभारत का part है, I said, अगर ये महाभारत का part है and you're telling us don't keep Mahabharata at home. I mean, you're telling us to study Bhagavad Gita, but you're telling us not to keep Mahabharata. And Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata. Now, tell me, does it make sense, Divya?
No, Deepti ji, I was going to ask you that only, that why would we do this and not do this?
Exactly.
So,
The idea is don't take it as a story. If you take it as a story, then there is only Ragadvesh between cousins that's expressing. But how can you miss out Krishna from the whole story? Why? It's a very it's one of the other misunderstandings in our society, sadly. Let's come back to the point. The point is, I am saying it's a blessing to know through this help of the Acharya that Kritsnavit is Atmavit. So all those who have been studying for James Hadley Chase, okay. All those who have been studying Vedanta for years, when you come to some portions of Upanishads, when this word will come, this whole knowledge will come striking at that time. With just a little mention, you may remember the whole thing. Even if you forget, don't worry. With a little mention, the whole concept will be understood because I'm summarizing now. Yeah. There is only one cause of the Jagat. वही cause उपादान कारण है, material cause है. वही कारण निमित्त कारण है, intelligent cause है, the maker है. That one is Atma, knowing which you have complete knowledge. There is no knowledge left to be known. Then it's not that you will know dentistry, you will know neuroscience, you will know astrology, you will know astronomy, and you will know how many galaxies there are. It's not Vishaya. That's why we gave the example of the waking and the dream. On becoming a waker, having knowledge of a waker, whatever is in the dream, do you need to know it? Do you need detailed knowledge? Huh?
not needed.
It's not
Not
needed.
needed.
It's not needed. Exactly the same way, when Atma is known, Jagat ki sari details are redundant. कृत कृत करने की चीज हो गई है. There is nothing more left to be achieved. When do you need relative knowledge? Like I said yesterday, if I have to go to visit to some place, then I need to know how to apply, how to where to get all those. There's so much knowledge that I need to acquire. If I have a leak in the house, also I will need knowledge. कैसे इसको किसको बुला किस स्पेशलिस्ट को बुलाना etc. But all this knowledge, this vishesha jnanam of this and this and this and this, even if I know of everything, there will still be some vishesha jnanam which will be left unknown. I can't know the whole Vishesh Jnanam, but I can have the Jnanam of that one based on which this entire Vishesha Jnanam rests. And that one is Atma, as oneself. That Atma is what is being spoken of, knowing which do not unsettle the people who are attached to their karma phal. Karte rehne do. Then what will happen? How will they grow? How will they come to learn, as I explained yesterday a little bit? Or once you keep doing phala prapti ke karam, phal ki ichha se bahut, in that, what is that phrase that gets used? Like a go-getter, and I want, ambition, and everything you show and you get it, you also realize that none of them is fulfilling you. Along with you start realizing none of it fulfills you. Like, for example, people have all kinds of illusions, delusions about relations, certain specific kind of relations, certain ideas and ideologies. We all have, if we say, it will come very well in Bhaj Govindam. Shobhana Adhyasa, they are called. The fanciful thinking we live with. In that fanciful living mode of life, we start chasing those, thinking them to be real and that they will fulfill us if we get them, if these desires are met. That they don't fulfill us, we wake up to this acknowledgement sometime or the other in our life. कभी ना कभी ये बुद्धि फिर समझ जाती है, इंसान समझ जाता है, फॉरगेट बुद्धि, इंसान कभी ना कभी उस बात में आके समझ जाता है कि इच्छाओं की पूरा होने पे भी मैं पूरी नहीं होती या मैं पूरा नहीं होता. मेरी इच्छाएं पूरी हो जाने पे भी, मिल जाने पे भी कुछ ना कुछ लगा ही रहता है मन में, किसी ना किसी कारण हम दुखी रहते ही हैं. क्या इट्स अ फैसिनेशन कि सब कुछ होके भी अगर हम दुखी ही रहते हैं, so that means there has to be another source. Let's look at things in a fresh perspective. Let's examine our states of mind freshly, and knowledge comes to our rescue. Then it gives us the data to realign our thinking and accept things as they are. So अब समझ में आ गया. कल I think जिनको नहीं समझ में आया था, is it now clear or we still need more explanation?
हाँ जी, आगे समझ में
आ गया? Okay.
Right.
Everybody else also?
Yes,
Yes,
Gita.
Okay.
Gita ji, this is same as Tattva-Ved, right? Atma-Ved,
Yes.
Tattva-Ved.
Yes, absolutely. They're all same. Tattva is Atma. Tattva-Vid, Atma-Vid. Same. Good. So we will move on now to the 30th verse. Good. आप चैंट करेंगे 2 बार. अच्छा मैं करती हूँ. मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः. मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि Sanyasyadhyatmachetasa nirashirnirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Mai. Mai, Krishna is saying this. Mai is aham ka word. Aham is I. Mai, to me. To me is the meaning. Mujhko, mere ko. Kaun mere ko? We know Krishna is saying, Shri Krishna Vacha is going on, Bhagwan Vacha is going on. Shankara says, Vasudeva. Vasudeva, to Vasudeva. Who is this Vasudeva? Parameshwara. He is the Parama Ishvara. He is Ishvara. Parama Ishvara means another word for Ishvara. The very beginning. Hanji?
Sublime, totally the top.
Yes,
Sublime.
yes. Sublime. Who is that Parameshwara? Sarvagnya. Now see how he said Kritsnavit before? Who is this Parameshwara? Sarvagnaha. Gnaha is knower. Sarvagnaha, जो सब जानता है. All knower, all knowing. So one adjective, Vasudeva, that's his name. He's a Parameshwara. He's a Sarvagnya. When you say he's a Sarvagnya, knower of all, where is he? Sarva Atmani. Beautiful description. He is one who is in everyone. Sarva, sabki, in their self, in their own self. He is the Atma of everyone. He is within everyone as the Atma of everyone. Now go backwards in the thought. He is Sarva Atmani. He is in everyone. Who is that Sarva Atmani? Reverse the words. Who is that Sarva Atmani? Start reversing. Start saying.
Atman.
No, I said start reversing the words. He's the Atma of everyone. He's within everyone. As the Atma of everyone. Sarva Atmani.
So Atma in Sarva. Atma in all.
Okay,
No?
Start reversing the word in the sentence. We went, Mai means Vasudev. We went like this. Vasudev means Parameshwara. Parameshwara is Sarvagnya.
So it's like Karmani Sarvani Mai.
Don't go there. We are doing the Bhashyam.
Okay.
Here, what I'm drawing. I'm sorry, Sarvani need not be drawn. Sarva Atmani. Now I'm saying reverse it. I said, where is this Sarva Atmani? He's the Atma in everyone. He's as Atma in everyone. सबके अंदर अंदर ही है. सब अंदर भी क्यों कहना? He's the Atma of everyone. Atma of everyone is, who is he? Sarvagnya. Excellent. Yes. Who is that Sarvagnya? Go backwards. Who is that Sarvagnya? He's Parameshwara. Who is that Parameshwara? Vasudeva. And who is that Vasudeva referring to? He's saying to me. Mujhko. Kya karo? Sarvani karmani. सब कर्मों को, not एक दो तीन, सब कर्मों को. Madhusudan ji is going to add लौकिक, वैदिक, अलौकिक, कोई भी कर्म है आपका, सब कर्मों को क्या करना है? संन्यस्य. संन्यस्य, give up. Give all your karmas up.
Surrender.
That Madhusudan ji is going to say samarpya. That's a word he will use. Shankara here uses nikshipya, means छोड़ दो उसको. Give it up. To whom? To me, he says. Remember this very beautifully. That Mai, we keep a form of Krishna outside and we say, इसको हमें अपना कर्म सरेंडर करना है, इसके लिए हमें कर्म करना है. Is that Ishwar Arpanam? That Krishna form outside? Shankara says that Krishna that you keep as an idol outside is Sarvatmani. सबकी आत्मा है वो. To that Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. Surrender it. And then what? How? Adhyatma Chetasa. What is Adhyatma Chetasa? Viveka Buddhi. By that Viveka Buddhi, what is that Viveka Buddhi? Quote unquote. Shankara gives the explanation of that Viveka Buddhi that you should have when you are surrendering your karmas to Vasudev. What is that? Aham karta Ishwaraya Brityavat karomi. I am doing my karmas. I am doing my karmas ईश्वर के लिए. हिंदी is better to translate. ईश्वर के लिए, ईश्वराय, for the sake of ईश्वरा, ईश्वर को के लिए कर रहा हूं. How? Brityavat. Brityavat means as a servant. I serve in my Viveka Buddhi. I am a servant who is serving Ishvara by my karma. That is the Viveka Buddhi. Iti Anaya Buddhi. In this manner, have that attitude. So he's kind of brought the attitude of Karam Yoga in a manner in which we can relate. What is Britya Buddhi? Though this is another philosophy, but completely a different school of darshan. But yes, Shankara is quoting it here. One of the ways in which Karma Yoga gets established when people don't have so much understanding, what is Ishwar Arpan, what is Prasad Buddhi, how do I detach, इसके लिए भी थोड़ा विवेक शक्ति चाहिए. जब इतना विवेक भी नहीं है तो अपने कर्मों को भृत्यवत, as a servant does his work for his master. Now, what is your attitude behind it? That is what is going to define Karma Yoga.
Gratitude.
Brityavat. What is that Brityavat? Like a servant does to his master. Gratitude is what? How does...
One of them.
Hanji?
Is gratitude one of them?
Yes, it is one of them. Out of gratitude. But I would like more explanation on the word gratitude. Can someone explain to... We all use this word. I use it also very often. But I still struggle to understand. What do they mean?
Abhar. Abhar.
Ah. Dutifully is another way. Very good. Start thinking without any attachment. Very good. Ek Brityavat. How does a servant offer or do his duties or do his whatever he is supposed to do? Sarvani Karmani, remember? All karmas to be done. Aham Karta Karomi. I am the Karta who is doing. I will do. I am doing, not will do. I am doing. I do. I do is the translation. I do. I do karmas for Ishvara. Ishwar ke
To the best
liye.
of my ability. To the best of my ability.
Prityavat. Now let me ask a very honest, simple question. We all have helpers at home, right? When that helper is working for you, which helper is most remembered, or whom do you have? What all do you have in your mind from that helper? Remember that equation with reference to you and Ishvara, and automatically our actions start getting better and better. Automatically our actions become purified.
First is honesty.
And selflessness, not transactional.
Even if they just do what they are kept to do, but they do it wholeheartedly, they do it completely, they do it what is expected out of them, for which they are kept, for which they are employed. Automatically, you have what in your feeling?
Gratitude.
You automatically want to give them extra. आपके मन से निकलता है नहीं, let me take care of their health policy, let me take care of, maybe their children need to have better education. You will start thinking like that. What are they doing? Dedicated, very good word. Unconditional, excellent. Just do it. Now put all this into your karma yoga. इसी को कर्म योग कहते हैं. If that attitude with which we do whatever we do, that is why in our siddhant, in our culture, in the Vedic system, I will repeat this billion times. That's my duty to repeat. There is no hierarchy at all. ये जो वर्णों की और वर्णों की जो hierarchy का misinterpretation हो गया है, and because of which there's so much criticism of the culture, and the modern Hindus who call themselves modern don't even understand it. If you try to tell them, they don't want to learn. There is no hierarchy from the Vedic standpoint. Yes, in society, in implementation, misleading has happened. There are many reasons. Let's not go into it. The simplest reason is the educators just cease to educate at some point. The educators should have continued educating the society irrespective of anything, but that's a should have, which is not a reality. So today we have a state where we think that our society was in hierarchy. We are the only society, I cannot talk about other Asian societies, but as much as I know about the Western society, and we are the only society where there was no hierarchy, because जो भी कर्म जो भी कर सकता है अपनी क्षमता के हिसाब से, अपने गुणों के हिसाब से, अपनी सुविधा के हिसाब से, अपनी कला के हिसाब से, अपने स्वभाव के हिसाब से, अपनी परिस्थिति के हिसाब से, इससे ज्यादा क्या चाहिए किसी को फ्रीडम? जो भी कर सकता है, the only thing is ईश्वर अर्पण. Do it for his sake, and not as a obligation to him, certainly. उसको नहीं चाहिए आपका कर्म. When you do it, जहां पे भी आप हो, आप उस कर्म को अगर ईश्वर को अर्पित करके कर रहे हो, भृत्यवत, like a servant to him, through that you will get everything. Just as you say, I want to reward my employee, I want to reward my employee, Ishvara also rewards exactly the same way. You get unfoldment of Ishvara Anugraha. It falls when you, how? This is the attitude that brings it. Works the same principle. With reference to that Vrityavat, with reference to your employee, you are the master. जब वो relative level पे we can see it works on us. What are we talking about? The laws. How can they not work? We are also part of the same law system. So he should do in this manner. Moreover, there is more. Moreover, nirashihi. We'll explain this in the next class further, but let me complete the verse. Nirashihi. Who's nirashi? जिसकी आशा, कोई आशा रखे बिना, like someone unconditional, without any expectation. Shankara says, त्यक्त आशी, you have अपनी आशाओं को आपने छोड़ दिया है. Means आशा is for what? What is an आशा?
Wish.
It's a desire.
Wish.
It's a desire, it's a wish,
Expectation.
it's an expectation. Excellent. It's an expectation.
For results.
For result, आशा है मेरे को, एक expectation है. निराश त्यक्त आशी ही. What is that expectation? Of result. That's a hope also is a good word. It's a hope. It's an expectation. Nirashi hi. Tyaktashi hi. Nirmamaha. Mama bhavaha cha nirgataha yasya tava saha. It is referring to the person. It's a bahuvrihi samas. It's referring to a person from whom the mama bhav, mera hai, nirgataha, chala gaya, has gone. Yes, expectation, hope, has gone. Without any mamatva bhav. All the mamatva bhav, that is, if there is any, I'm just making it a little simpler maybe, or maybe putting in a little word. If there is any mamatva left, there is only one mamatva. It is my duty. अगर जो हमारा helper है at home and work, wherever, if that helper just says, but it's my duty to do, that little my duty का जो mama bhav है, keeping that mama bhav, all other mama bhav, ये मेरे बच्चे, ये मेरा वो, ये मेरा 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 घर, मेरा ये, मेरा पैसा, मेरी इज्जत, मेरी society, all that mama bhav nirgataha, जिसका चला गया. Nirmamaha bhutva, having become one without mamatvam. Yudhyasva. For all those who say Bhagwan didn't tell him directly, it's in the verse itself. Yudhyasva. Yudhyasva is directly, the subject here is you. You act. You fight. Yudhyasva. You fight. Vigata jwaraha. Without any santapaha. Without all these mental afflictions that you're undergoing, O Arjun, Madhusudanji will tell us this Vigata Yudhyasva Vigata Jara is specific to Arjun's context because he was in a war situation. So Yudhyasva means he's telling him to fight. But to everybody, their situation is not to encounter a warlike situation in life. Whatever your karmas are, do them without santapaha, this mental affliction that he's got affected with, shoka and moha. Vigata shokaha, abandon your shok, son, and then mai sarvani karmani, for my sake do all your karmas. How? Homework for all of you for next week. Figure out how many have been given here. The main thing is, all karmas, offer them to me. Do it for my sake. Mai sarvani karmani. Then what all has been added? As how? What has been stated? That's your homework. You can go through it. Is the question clear? Homework clear? It's the
I
home.
think so.
Okay.
All that encompasses in your thoughts of whatever you're surrendering to the Lord, right?
That's general. I'm just restricting it to the verse. In the verse, what has he said? It's like sannyasya, nirashi. I'm giving the answer also, but I will not give more answers. But here. And then you will see it in your actions, how these things come up, they spring up in our action, and they are the impurities, and how action helps us clean up our mind. Chitta shuddhi kaise leke aata hai? These are the impurities. Mama is impurity, asha is impurity, for us phal, चिपकना फल से is impurity, अपने लिए कर्म करना is impurity. ये सारे impurity है. शोक, संताप, impurity. and many more you will realize. Aham karta, impurity. It's very beautiful if you can make the connection how he is bringing us that through action you purify. I'll give one example and we'll end the class here. How through action you purify, how Chitta Shuddhi comes through action. When you make tea with leaves, not the matcha tea that dissolves, but I think it's matcha, yeah. But the normal teas, tea leaves. Tea leaf you've added for what? To have tea. But is the tea that you are having or the decoction that you have? What do you refer to as tea?
Decoction that you're having.
The leaves is also tea. But you don't have that directly. You process it. And then what happens? That tea is now being referred to that liquid which is a decoction of the leaves. And then what do you do?
Then you add milk or sugar, whatever you want.
Okay. And then what do you do? What is the important thing here?
Strain it.
Strain it, filter it away. You filter it. That leave it, छोड़ देते हो उसको, and you take what is the decoction, the essence. So all this helped us coming to the fact that we are active. Asha, Mama, फल से जुड़ के, at least we want to do something. We are active. It has helped us. But having made us active, now what do you do? Start throwing away, giving up what is not necessary. Asha is an obstacle in your purity of action. Mama is an obstacle in your purity of action. Phalicha is an obstacle in the purity of action. Expectations are an obstacle in the purity of your action. आपका decoction खराब होता रहेगा कि वो. Would you like a tea, drinking tea, if there is a leaf that comes along with it? If you didn't strain it properly and there were a few leaves that got added in the tea, do you like it?
Try to remove it if at all it comes.
You don't like it. Nobody likes tea with the leaves. अच्छी नहीं लगती वो चाय हमको. And if you've offered it to someone, a guest, and you didn't strain it properly, and you offer it to a guest with certain tea leaves inside, side पे गिरी हुई on the cup, would you offer it?
वो किसी को नहीं अच्छी लगेगी.
किसी को नहीं अच्छी लगेगी. That's the point. सिर्फ मुझे ही नहीं अच्छी लगती, किसी को नहीं अच्छी लगेगी. That is karma with all these impurities. चाय की पत्ती साफ डली हुई है चाय के अंदर, और वो कर्म का किसी को नहीं अच्छा लगता. It's a क्लेश. Okay. Right?
Deepti here, kincha means how?
Kincha is moreover.
Moreover.
Kin cha संधि करके किंच. Kim is how.
अच्छा.
How?
और क्या?
और क्या, exactly. और क्या. Yeah. जी, conclude करेंगे.
Sure. ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिषः। गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं। लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः। पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी। देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः। ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। दीप्ति सॉरी, जब आपने वो 30 श्लोक 30 था, मैं म्यूट था। आई नेवर रियलाइज। मैं यहाँ चांट करता रहा, बाद में मैंने देखा कि मैं तो म्यूट।
कोई
So
बात
sorry.
नो 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 नॉट एट ऑल, कोई बात नहीं जी।
Thank you very much.
थैंक यू,
धन्यवाद दीप्ति जी. It was a
धन्य-
beautiful class.
धन्यवाद, धन्यवाद. Thank you for your participation
Thank you.
also, all of you. Makes a lot of difference to the class. Thank you. Thank you,
Yesterday
everyone.
also, Deepti, you were asking questions and I was trying to reply, but my laptop had some
The
problem.
broadcast of Facebook Live has
Is
stopped.
it? Oh, okay.
And then I think sent a message on chat, but I think that was also not visible to